Welcome to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. My name is Bill Moore. I'm the founder of Food Truck Training Group on Facebook, co-owner with my beautiful wife, Melissa, of our own food truck. It's called Food Truck 101, and I am the executive director of the National Street Food Vendors Association, which is a nonprofit dedicated to education, advocacy, and uplifting all food vendors. Today I'm going to be talking about self-improvement strategies for you as a food truck owner. But before I get into that topic, I want to remind you guys I'm going to be in Orlando, Florida, November 12th and 13th at the Food Truck Owners Expo. I'm going to be giving 3 classes. One is on writing a profitable menu, one is on marketing the off-season, and one is on how we as food truck vendors need to learn to speak with a single voice so that we can make changes in our own industry. Again, that's in Orlando, Florida, November 12th and 13th. Go to FTOexpo.com, place your order for those tickets today, and when you do, put in the code FTTG15 for a 15% discount. I want to thank Table Needs for sponsoring this episode of the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. Table Needs is a full-service POS system capable of handling your busy food truck, cash, credit card, and reporting needs. Check out the link in the description for more information about Table Needs. Let's talk about self-improvement as it relates to you guys being food truck owners. So one of the buzzwords that are in a lot of business and life coaches, they talk about mindset. Specifically, they're talking about mastering your mind and adapting self-improvement strategies that'll help take care of your business and also your personal growth and take it to the next level. They get into all those real hype things, but there are some basic fundamentals that are true there. So let's talk about what is a mindset and why does it matter so much to you as a food truck owner. A mindset, all it is a set of beliefs and attitudes. That's all that it is. It's how you approach a problem, how you handle stress, and then how you view your own abilities. That's all a mindset is. It's your opinions about yourself, and those actually matter. When it comes down to mindsets, there's 2 primary types. There's a fixed mindset, and then there's a growth mindset. A fixed mindset believes that your abilities and your intelligence are static. You're either good at something or you're not. You have natural ability or you don't. And then on the other hand, a growth mindset believes you can develop and improve where you are today. You can develop attitudes, you can develop abilities, and you can do that through just hard work, learning, and then perseverance. You don't give up. That's where humans are. Anybody, and I do mean anybody, can get good at this business. Some people are natural salesmen. Some people are not. Some people are naturally gifted cooks. Some people are not. But you know what? You can learn those skills. As a food truck owner, adopting that growth mindset, that understanding that whatever abilities you don't have today, you can learn and practice and get to be as good as, if not better than anybody else in the industry. That allows you to see challenges not as, something else I got to worry about. You see those challenges as opportunities. You see a failure, we talked about failures yesterday. You see a failure as it's just a learning experience. And then you see the effort that you're putting in to improve yourself is really the path to becoming a master of this industry. So how do you cultivate that mindset? How do you understand that you can grow and become better, no matter where you are right now today? So here's something I want you to think about, this strategy, the power of yet, Y-E-T, the power of yet. When you incorporate that particular word into your self-talk, what you're telling yourself every single day, because there are people out there that will say, well, I'm not even good at this, and they say it with that dejected tone. Add one word to that. I'm just not any good at this yet, meaning I can become better than I am today at what I'm doing. I'm not any good at this yet. It's just a simple internal shift in how you talk to yourself. And it turns that self-limiting internal conversation you're having into one that's growth-oriented, to becoming better than you are today. It reminds you that your current skill is not fixed. It is not a static skill. It can improve. You're a work in progress. You are a work in progress until you die. My dad was fond of saying you can live until you die, or you can die until you're dead. You can live until you die, or you can die until you're dead. If you think that your skills are static and you're never going to get better, you're already dying. Whether you're struggling with marketing or managing your team or hiring a team, refining your menu, getting faster at speed of service, remember you're on a journey. You may not have all the answers right now today, but with a little bit of effort, maybe even some learning, perhaps some coaching, you'll get there. Focus on progress, not perfection. As food truck owners, we often strive for perfection. We want every single thing we put out the window to be perfect. We want it to be flawless. We want every single guest to be happy. We want every single event that we do to be wildly successful. Setting those high goals, that's important. That's something to strive for. But it's equally as important not to get bogged down chasing perfection. Marco Pierre White says that perfection is doing a whole bunch of little things right. The more little things you do right, the closer you come to perfection. You'll most likely never hit perfection. But a lot of people get hung up on, it's not perfect, I can't do it, so I'm not going to do it. Just make it better than everyone else. It doesn't have to be perfect. You want to focus on progress. You want to celebrate the wins. I talk about this so much. Celebrate those small wins. You're allowed to pat yourself on the back and then figure out how to duplicate what you just did and then prevent the things that you feel aren't perfect. And then prevent the things that you view as setbacks or failures. Celebrate those small wins. And it could be something as small as just improving your social media output. You go from one post every couple of weeks to we're doing one every single day. That's an improvement. Celebrate it. You're able to cut down on your food waste. Celebrate it. You've gotten faster at your speed of service. Celebrate it. A 1 second improvement is still a 1 second improvement. How do we consistently keep that 1 second improvement and go for that second improvement? How do we get a little bit faster? If you can put out one order a minute, that's awesome. But not everybody can do that. But if you're taking 15 minutes to put food out, how can we knock it down to 14 and a half and then 14 and then knock it down till it gets to be an acceptable speed of service for your guests? And when I say acceptable, I mean a speed of service that encourages them to come back tomorrow. Remember, each step forward is progress. And that's what you want. It means you're moving in the right direction. You want to shift your focus from perfection to progress. You want to cultivate within yourself a learning attitude. Now, if you listened earlier this week, you've heard me say you've got to be a student. You've got to be learning. You've got to be improving. You don't have to have all the answers. You just need to know where to find the answers. You want to cultivate an attitude of lifelong learning. I'm 65 years old. I still read books. I still read magazines. I listen to videos all about the food service industry. I've been doing this 47 years. I've done sit-down restaurants, fast food restaurants, hot dog carts, trailers. I've done a lot of service. And there's still new things to learn. Technology changes. The stuff that we have available to us today, we did not have in 1981. There was no portable cash register. There was no little teeny tiny thing that we could stick in our pocket that had more computing power than we had when we went to the moon. Technology changes. Opportunities change. You have to learn to grow with them. I'm what people call a baby boomer, and we know all the jokes about boomers. Well, I'm here to tell you I can do anything you can do. And the reason I can do anything you can do as a youngster is I stay on top of things. I take a whole bunch of newsletters about AI. I take a whole bunch of newsletters about food service industry, not only as a food truck owner, because there's only one or two newsletters out there that are worth reading about food trucks, and they mainly talk about restaurants. But I take all that information and read. I have my Google set to show me all the articles pertaining to food trucks every single day at noon so I can see what's going on in our industry. I want to stay a student until I die. As long as I'm learning, I'm getting better. And then I can help you guys to become better. So don't just think you've mastered it and now it's time to stop. Gotta keep learning. You want to practice resilience. You're going to have setbacks. We talked about that yesterday. There are going to be setbacks. It would be quite boring if it was all just smooth sailing. You're going to face setbacks. You're going to have tough days. You're going to have an unexpected challenge come up. A number of years ago, ran a restaurant, Quiznos. It was my Quiznos. And I had two people that were absolutely amazing. But one of the bad things about a Quiznos, especially back then, is we weren't busy enough to require 3 people working. So myself and 2 other people. But I would try to have these 2 people work as much as I could because they needed the money. But I couldn't give them all the hours that they wanted. Now, I've worked in this business at that point, 37 years maybe, 38 years, something like that. In any case, I had never been shorthanded to the point where I was in a panic. Yes, I'd had a person call off here and there, but never had to panic. Well, this particular day, we would schedule one person to come in at 9:30, and they would set up the front area. We open at 10. Have another person come in at 11. The 2 of them always rode together. They were boyfriend, girlfriend, and they would work the shift until 4 o'clock. Well, 9:30 rolls around, one of them in there. Let me call them, see where they at. Let me set up the front line while I'm calling them. No answer at the phone. 10 o'clock rolls around, no one's there. I open up the door. No big deal. It's not going to be busy from 10 to 11. I can handle it. It's not a big deal. I continued to call them in between customers. No one is answering the phone. Well, that tells me one of two things. They've either gotten to a wreck and they are incapable of calling. They did have cell phones, so they could have called. It's unlikely both of them died in a fiery car crash. And then the most likely thing is they've decided to quit. Now, it was a Friday. It was the week before Christmas, so it was going to be busy because my Quiznos was in a shopping plaza, and it was a destination shopping plaza. So people would come there to shop, and it was right next to another really big outlet mall. So people would sometimes park in our parking lot and walk over to the outlet mall. So it was going to be busy no matter how I looked at it. And it was real busy. And it got so busy to the point that I realized I'm going to need help. So in between orders, I would grab the phone and call people. Everyone that was off either chose not to answer the phone or said, I can't come in, one or the other. So I ran that whole shift all by my lonesome, which meant I eventually was going to have to do prep to set up the evening shift. Otherwise, they would have no food to sell. And I did it all. And that was a huge setback. And I could have just moaned and groaned about it and let that just dictate the rest of my seasonal holiday. I was like, okay, once it's over, it's no big deal. We're getting ready to move on. How am I going to cover all their shifts? Because I'm not going to cross my fingers and hope they show up tomorrow. I'm going to cover those shifts. How am I going to do that? So I worked on a solution rather than bemoan what had happened that day. So you have to be resilient. How can you bounce back from whatever bad thing has happened and make it better? And then hopefully make sure it never happens to you again. You got to surround yourself with growth-minded people. Said that a couple times this week. Can't soar with the eagles when you hang around a bunch of turkeys. You got to surround yourself with people who are going to keep you motivated, people that are going to keep you fired up about your business. They don't have to know anything about food service. All they have to know is that you're on a path of doing better, and they're going to support you and cheer you on as you do better. And then hopefully in that mix of people that you have, some of them know the food service industry and can help you out when you have those little hiccups. Surround yourself with supportive people, and that includes your family. Going out there and facing the challenges we face in food service without a supportive family gets old really, really quickly. And sadly, a lot of food truck owners see that because as soon as they say, hey, important person in my life, I want to open a food truck, most likely you're going to get that, why you want to do that for? They just fail. Why you want to open a roach coach? And then you start to listen to those doubts from people that are not in the industry to begin with. You can be successful in this industry. You just have to do a handful of things. That's it. You got to sell great food. You got to have good speed of service. You got to have a sanitary environment. Otherwise, the health department closes you down. And then you got to build a community. Those 4 things, all you got to do. You do them day in and day out, and you want to make sure that today is better than yesterday, and you plan on tomorrow being better than today. That's growth. Again, if you're not growing, you're stagnant. If you're stagnant, that means you have 1 foot in the grave. Your mindset, what you put into your mind, that internal conversation is the most powerful tool that you have. You can talk about, man, I can't do this. And you say that enough, your body starts to believe it. Well, we can't do it. The brain says so. So you can't. And no matter what you try, because your internal talk is negative, we can't do it. So the body has to function whatever the brain tells it to do. The old thing about computers, garbage in, garbage out. If you internally tell yourself you can't do something, your body is going to try its best to make you not a liar. And then you can pat yourself on the back. Hey, my brain was right. Couldn't do it. You can do this business. It takes effort. And you can be one of the most successful food truck owners out there. But you got to change how you talk to yourself. Be positive. Zig Ziglar says that positive thinking won't let you do anything, but it will let you do everything better than negative thinking will. You cannot tell yourself one thing internally, well, I can't ever do that. I'll never do $1,000 a day, and then expect to hit $1,000 a day. It's not going to happen. Change how you're talking to yourself. Thank you guys so much for listening to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. If you're finding the podcast helpful, please consider supporting us. There's going to be links in the description to make that happen. Every little bit does help keep us going. Until next time, you guys have a profitable day.